Boom, boom, boom. As we get up and running on all platforms, green check marks just about across the board. Here we go. Broncos country, we are all systems go wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X. We are happy to have you. Who are we? Well, we are MHI. You can catch Thomas Hall and yours truly, Luke Patterson, every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain here in Broncos country. And we have a treat of a show for you guys tonight. Just when you think life can't get any sweeter for your Denver Broncos after a 33-32 comeback historic win on Alumni weekend, the very same weekend in which DT was entered into the Ring of Fame. And speaking of the Ring of Fame, we have a Ring of Fame with a Ring of Famer with us tonight. Tom, you've been speaking with this mystery guest, right? We've been plugging this for a little bit, a week or so. Rick Upchurch is officially stopping by the show. MHI, we are going to get into anything and everything with Rick Upchurch. You know him, you love him, Tom. I'm so excited. I'm giddy.
I am too, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining. Obviously, you are a legend in Broncos country, Ring of Famer. We are so happy to have you.
Oh, guys, thank you very much for having me. I'm still geeked up and excited, man, from this weekend, and I'm excited to be on the show with you and talk a little bit about the weekend and other things. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you again. But before, I really want to get into Alumni Weekend. I think, and the game itself, it was tremendous. I was there watching it live. It was exciting. But I do have one question to ask you before we get into anything else that has really been like a curiosity to me for a very long time, and maybe you can shed some light on it. Super Bowl 12, the Broncos were all wearing this kind of reddish orange jersey. And your jersey was like a normal orange. Is there a story behind that, or is it just look weird on the actual videos that I've watched?
No, back then, you could have tearaway jerseys. And so I had a tearaway jersey on, and, those tearaway jerseys were made of like a T-shirt. And so if somebody grabbed you, you could tear away and, go on about your business. So that's the difference. Everybody else had the normal jerseys. I had the tearaways.
All right. Well, that finally explains it. I've asked several people to see what that was. So thank you so much for answering that for me.
Yes.
Now we can jump in to some of the chat, say hi to the chat, and then we'll get into this weekend for sure, this past weekend.
Boom. David Papa Bear coming in here, showing some love to Broncos Ring of Famer Rick Upchurch. Good evening, Broncos country, and good evening to Mr. Rick Upchurch. Hashtag 13-4. Rick, David is a long life fan of the Denver Broncos, a fan of yours. He appreciates the first team All-Pro Pro Bowl nods that you brought to the Mile High City. He appreciates the fact that you are one of 29 people to land on two separate all-decades teams. We got to get into the current Denver Broncos. I'm going to ask you about Sean Payton, Bo Nix, what you're seeing out of Marvin Mims. But before we get there, let's get into Alumni Weekend a little bit. Tell me, what was it like to experience it? Tom was in the building. He was grouchy in the first half. He came around. He wasn't one of those fans that left early. I know you were there. Tell me a little bit about this Mile High magic, because you've experienced it. You've caused some of your own. Is it back in Denver?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was a great weekend. Coming back and being with all the guys and, and celebrating with Super Bowl 50, and certainly the great Demaryius Thomas going into the Ring of Fame was awesome. Sitting down and talking with the guys and making sure everybody's well and healthy and, physically and mentally and that type of thing. That's the first thing. And then the next thing is the festivity of the game. And, the game was great. I had been in many of those. And I was telling people the game ain't over yet. Magic does happen. Miracles do happen. And then they looked at me and went, "How did you know?" I said, "Well, I've been in a couple of those." So, but it was a great weekend, man. And, to be around the guys and reminisce and talk about, their families, our families, and those type of things it's what it's all about. People talk about championships and Pro Bowls and all that type of stuff. And, that's cool. But man, let me tell you, the friendships and the long friendships that you have with your teammates is what it's all about.
Absolutely. I do want to ask you one question about the game itself. So, when from your experience, what does it really take mentally to go that long? Look like you're not going to turn this thing around, and then to have an explosion like that at basically right at the start of the fourth quarter to bring it all around. What do you do? Like, how do you not get down? How do you get that mentality to turn that around?
Well, once again, if you played high school, if you played college, I'm sure that you've been in some of those type of games. And so mentally, if you've been in those type of games, you say to yourself, hey, we can win this football game. I remember we were down, like I said, by 24 with the Seattle Seahawks back in 1979. And we got a couple of turnovers, and then we hit them quick with some touchdowns and that type of stuff in that whole deal. And then we got great field position again, and then we scored, and we ended up winning that game. I think it was like 37-34. And so for me, most of us, when we went into the huddle, we said to ourselves, hey, let's make this look good, and let's keep fighting. And just so happens the defense, our great defense, got a couple of turnovers, and the whole tide changed. And that's exactly what happened on Sunday. The big interception down there in plus territory, man, I think turned the whole complexion of the game around.
100%. Justin Sternat, it was one of my takeaways you could read about over at milehighhuddle.com. Without both offense and defense coming together, special teams, obviously, on the last play of the game, it felt special. And something feels special about this team, Rick. And we're joined by the legendary Rick Upchurch, who was just kind enough to stop by MHI. Broncos country's confused. I think while we're enjoying this undefeated home winning streak, Mr. October himself, Sean Payton, undefeated this year, knock on some wood. The Broncos offense is struggling. They're tending to get off to these late starts. Penalties continue to plague them. It's not sustainable to count on these fourth quarter comebacks, these short games, if you will, in the fourth quarter. What do you make of it all? Because people are trying to find the culprit. Is it Bo Nix? Is it Sean Payton? Do you remove play calling? Or is it still early in the season and you're starting to see an offense blossom?
Yeah, I think it's still early in the season. If you guys remember, a lot of these guys didn't even play in the preseason. And also when you're practicing, you're not going at game speed. So once you get into the season, your first 4 games is the preseason, guys, for sure. And then once you start getting into the second half of the season, now everything is coming together. And also what happens is, guys, remember, offense is about timing and defense is about reaction. And so if your timing is off in that whole deal, it's just like with a car. If your timing is wrong, your car is not going to run well. And that's what happens when you don't play in the preseason. So, and also what you do is you narrow down your playbook. You say, hey, this works, this doesn't work, we're going to keep this. So there's a lot of dynamics to it in that whole deal. But I think the guys are starting to come together. I think Sean Payton is narrowing his playbook down, and the guys are gaining a lot more confidence with themselves and getting in tune, especially on the offensive side.
That's encouraging to hear, especially from a Broncos Ring of Famer, because I'm sitting at the couch at times with my wife, scratching my head and pulling my hair out going, what's going on here, Rick? I'm a Sean Payton guy. I had to have him. Once Bo Nix got here, we jumped on the bandwagon. But then I'm seeing tweets from my guy, Thomas Hall. He's getting ornery, and he's saying, I am out on Sean Payton and Sean Payton's play calling. Certainly, we all tend to overreact. It's an emotional game. I'm sure you've shared emotions, highs and lows, during your entire career with the Denver Broncos as a return specialist and a wide receiver. Talk to me about what you're seeing from Marvin Mims right now, Rick, because I was really, really excited, honored to have you on to pick your brain specifically from one all-pro Pro Bowl returner to the other. What can we make from Marvin Mims right now? And why isn't Bo Nix and Marvin Mims, why aren't they hooking up on the deep ball?
Marvin Mims is a game breaker. That's what he is. Once again, 2 Pro Bowls and 2 All-Pros. That tells the story about this kid, and they put him in at the right times in the right place. Again, it's about timing. once they get that timing down, watch what happens. I'm telling you, by the time they get to the 12th game of the season, Marvin Mims and Bo Nix are going to hook up. Once again, we as a society, we as fans, we want stuff to happen quickly. But remember, we're always putting our food in the microwave. We always, man, put our finger on the phone and that whole deal, and instantly things happen. It don't work that way in football, basketball, or any other sport. You have to give it time, just like a cake. Once you make the batter, you got to put it in the oven for 45 to 50 minutes, right? So, guys, it's okay. It's all right. They'll fix it. They'll
Calm
be
down.
okay. They'll be
Calm
okay.
down, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
I'm calming down.
I tell him every week he needs to calm down. But if he's not going to listen to me, maybe he'll listen to Ring.
I don't know. Listen to you, Rick. Hey, I do have one question. Speaking of returning Marvin Mims, obviously, I mean, you have been ranked as the greatest returner for about 3 decades after you retired. So I do want to ask you, I mean, we see Marvin Mims, we see a lot of these great returners. What is the number one skill that you have to be such a dynamic returner? And does Marvin Mims have that?
Yeah, Marvin Mims certainly has it, no doubt about it. And it's about vision. And for me, I've been doing it, my whole life, high school, Pop Warner football, college, the whole works. So I was very comfortable. I was comfortable returning in that whole deal. My thing was this: you guys are afraid of me. I'm not afraid of y'all. So, hey, man, I was about striking fear into the other team in that whole deal. And I think Marvin Mims does the same thing. Now, what I want to see him do is get him to the end zone. I like getting to the end zone and celebrating with the guys. Yards are fine and setting up the team. But if you can get to the end zone, man, that's points, man, that the team didn't even count on. And that's going to be explosive as far as the team is concerned and absolutely changing the momentum. But Marvin Mims has it all. I'm impressed with him in that whole deal. They need to get the ball in his hands a little bit more, I believe. And he'll take care of his business. But I like him a lot.
He's a playmaker. Sean wants to prioritize him. You can see the tools are there. He's a good guy, right? Does good in the community. Works like an absolute dog. You can see it. Him and Bo, where they want to go. It's just not quite there yet. Week 12, I wrote it down, Rick. I wrote it down. They're going to be hooking up by week 12, and all is going to be well in the Bo Nix, Marvin Mims deep ball.
I believe it. And the reason I say that is the same thing with myself. When I was doing that spot receiver stuff before I got the starting spot, man, in 79, they were spotting me in that whole deal. And I had to finally hook up with Craig Morton, later into the season so that I could, naturally get in timing with him in that whole deal. And once that happened, then things started to happen for me and Craig. So I believe the same thing. We saw it last year. The same thing is going to happen with Marvin Mims and Bo Nix and that whole deal, because they know that he's a game breaker and he can turn the momentum in a heartbeat.
Speaking of momentum, our guy David Yonkin coming in saying what an honor it is to have Rick Upchurch on MHI. I heard the comment that Bo Nix said after the win that he felt bad for fans who left the game early, but if the offense doesn't play better in all 4 quarters, then they won't leave early. What do you make of Bo Nix, second-year Broncos quarterback? What are you and the other Broncos alumni talking about when you're at the game? Alumni weekend, you see number 10 and Sean. I consider them cut from the same cloth. And I think sometimes that's the problem. They're just a little bit too similar. They're a little bit too stubborn, but you have 2 individuals that are competitive. They're here for the right reasons. Talk to me what you're seeing from Bo Nix, who broke a little bit of his own NFL history, right? You know a little something about NFL history, Mr. Upchurch. Bo Nix becoming the first quarterback to throw 2 passing touchdowns and rush for 2 running touchdowns. What do you make of Bo? Talk to me about Bo Nix.
Well, let me tell you guys, I had the honor, man, to play with the great John Elway his rookie year, right? When he came into the league. And John, once again, we knew the talent that he had. We knew that he was going to be a Hall of Famer. But that first 3 years, man, especially his first year, boy, it was really tough, because John would come back to the huddle and say, "These guys are fast." I said, "Yes, sir. This is not college anymore. John, don't lead me into the linebackers or the safety. Throw me open, okay? We had to do those type of things with John to get him comfortable in the National Football League. And then let's say come his second year, I watched him. He got better. He got better at throwing the ball and throwing the receiver open. My thing was this: when he got a hold of Mike Shanahan and he got into an offense that Mike Shanahan molded around him, and he had a running game, let me tell you, John blossomed. And then that's when they won 2 Super Bowls back to back. So it takes time for everything. Once again, it's like a cake. You got to allow man to bake the batter, but then you got to put the cake in the oven and allow it to bake. And if you do that, you're going to have something that tastes good. It's going to be sweet, and you're going to love it. And I think the same thing with Bo Nix. I think he's excellent. I think he has the poise, and he's going to do nothing but get better. And he's got some good people around him with Payton Manning and others.
You're getting me fired up, Rick.
We got Phil McLaughlin coming in asking you something. So it's good evening, Thomas Luke and Mr. Upchurch. I'm curious if you have a memorable moment. Phil wants to know, what is your most memorable moment?
Well, let me tell you, it was my first game, my debut game, my rookie year against Kansas City Chiefs. I got a kickoff, my first kickoff, and got knocked out, cracked my helmet. That's why when you see me on film, my helmet doesn't have a decal on it, because my helmet got cracked on a kickoff return. And then Haven Moses, he gets injured. And so now I'm the backup receiver. I got to go in as a rookie. Remember, I was a running back in college. So I'm learning how to be a receiver, right? And so now I've been knocked out. Now I got to go in for Haven Moses and start. And so my first touchdown was a reverse. And then my second touchdown was a 90-yard reception. And that game, I ended up with 284 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we came back and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I will never forget that game, ever. And that let me know that I belonged in the National Football League.
That's amazing. I actually forgot that you were a running back in college. So that's bad on me. But people don't remember. They remember you as one of the best returners of all time. But you were a very great receiver. You're top 15 in yards for Broncos all time. You've got an amazing yards per carry. Did it just, it took them a while to kind of get you mixed into the offense. You had some catches early on, but it wasn't until about year 5 where they really kind of blended you in. Was that a learning curve, or were they just too stubborn to put you in the game?
It wasn't a learning curve. Remember, we had Jack Dahlman, Haven Moses, and those guys, man, that were handling the wide receiver spot. I was doing the Marvin Mims thing. They would put me in, man, and get me isolated on different people in that whole deal so that I could do my thing in that whole deal. And so by my 9th year, I certainly had the wares and understood, man, how to play the wide receiver spot. But I'm just saying, your first game, you have 3 catches for 153 yards, right? And I mean, I was ready to start then. I really was. But once again, I can't determine on how the Denver Broncos wanted to use me. I just said, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Well, that's what it kind of feels like a little bit. The Broncos trying to figure out, specifically Sean Payton, how he wants to use Bo Nix. Now, you would know about this a lot more than me, going from Craig Morton to John Elway and several quarterbacks in between. It feels to me at first glance that Bo Nix and Sean are trying to prove the pocket passer. We can sit in the pocket. We could dice you up. And I think that can be true, but it's not there yet. I feel as though when Bo Nix improvises, when he's moving, when he's playing loose, when he's playing light, the offense is playing loose and they're playing light. And I can appreciate Sean Payton's competitiveness, his wrinkles to the game. But at some point, Rick, it just feels like things are too complex. There are too many personnel groupings. We're having a hard time still getting the play out, maybe a tad bit of indecisiveness. What do you guys see in the first 3 quarters of action? Because I hear you. You got to stay patient. it's the batter. We got to wait for the cake for the season. But what about that cake in the middle of the game, Rick? I got to eat a little bit of cake in that game, and I need Bo Nix and Sean to start cooking it early, not too late.
Well, games are ebb and flows, bro. You know what I'm saying? You have your peaks and your valleys. Can you withstand the valleys? And then when you can get to the peak, and hopefully you can end in the fourth quarter and to win the game like they did last Sunday. So the game is a bunch of ebb and flows, guys. And it's not just a straight line. And that's one thing that a lot of folks don't understand. You have to stay steady and say, hey, you know what? We're going to hit that high right at the right time. Yeah, we're in that low right now. We can't get anything going in that whole deal, but something's going to click. And when it clicks, we're going to do well against this other football team because we figured it out. So, guys, for me, once again, I'm about patience and allowing that cake to bake until it's done. And then when it's done, man, you go ahead and eat. And that's what you do. Then you eat.
This is great, Rick. I just want to remind everybody, we've got Broncos legend, Ring of Famer, Rick Upchurch on with us. If you want to get some questions in there, get it in now. We're going to have him jump off here a little bit. We're respecting your time. But Rick, before we go on to maybe next weekend or some other questions that we may receive, I just want to give you a moment for you to talk a little bit about your charity work, because I know you have a charity. You're big in the community. Can you just let everyone know what that's all about?
Well, you know, I live here in Las Vegas. And so, you know, I'm in Raider country and that whole deal. So my charity is to go to Walmart, and when guys walk in with Raider uniforms on, I say, "Oh, you support the Broncos." So that's that's one thing that I do. But no, I've done so many things, guys. I've worked in group homes. I've worked with senior citizens. It's about giving back to our society. But the number one thing that I do back in Colorado right now, since I'm not there, I have a fetish man up in the northwest corner, up near Steamboat and Craig, Colorado. And I run a cancer drive up there along with Victory Motors up there with Steve Maniotis. I'm tight with their family. I've been knowing them since the 70s. And when his sister developed colon cancer and myself, you know, I've been fighting leukemia since 2011. So it's precious to me. And so when I went up there one time and asked them how much, money that the Cancer Society there in Moffat County was able to give them or any family to go to Denver or go to Grand Junction, they told me $5. And I said to myself, I looked at my wife, I said, that's ridiculous. That's going to stop. And so to this point, we go back every year up to Craig, Colorado, and our thing is focused on cancer and helping families going through this. We've raised over $300,000 in 12 years to help those families up there. So my focus is on cancer patients and their families.
That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we can help out, if we can post some links or anything that we can do to help out your charities, just let us know afterwards. You've got my number, and we'll definitely do that. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, to just pivot to that same point, Rick, character is very important, not only on the football field, but in life. And I know you're a father, right? You've got family. What would you say to young athletes out there? Because life as a young person is very tough in the year 2025. And I think so many times extracurricular activities need to be explored, and kids need to be kids, and they need to compete and play and act and sing, perform music, anything under the sun. What would you say to a young kid who's just looking to spark interest in a sport, or maybe it's a club or a hobby right now? What would a Ring of Famer in Broncos country have to offer for those kids for advice right now?
I would tell them to try everything, right? When you go to a buffet, right? When you go walk in there, you look and you're like, man, I got all this right here that I can eat. But let me try a little bit of this. Let me try a little bit of that. And then I can decide when I come back the next time of what I like to eat. And maybe I'll try something different. So I encourage kids, man, to go out and try a little bit of anything. Try pickleball, try badminton, try bowling, try anything. And until you find what really gives you that emotion, what really gives you that hey, I want to do this. And then you stick with that, but also continue to do other things, because other things like basketball and that whole deal. I used to play a lot of basketball, and that helped me with my sideways, jumping up and down, sprinting back and forth up and down the floor, right? And so I tell kids, man, don't just do one thing. Do a bunch of things and then find the thing that you really, really like.
Boom.
Yeah, that's wonderful, man. I love that. I love hearing that. Thank you so much. That's great advice for anyone out there, even older folks that want to, try something new. Go try something. So thank you very much.
I think there's a lot to that and that doesn't just apply to kids, Tom and Rick, just to piggyback on that. I sometimes get a little bit too stuck in being comfortable, right? And you got to break your norms. You got to get out of the house. You got to explore life. You don't know what's around the corner. And sometimes I think we're predisposed to thinking it's a scary thing. It's not so scary, right? Let's just look at that game last weekend. How beautiful were so many elements of that game. And I immediately go to Demaryius Thomas, right? And how beautiful the 33 points were, how beautiful it was to see his mother, how beautiful it was to see you and all your teammates, Rick, and all the alumni members gather there and just have a huge day full of Broncos orange and blue love. We are hoping for some more of that this Sunday against the Cowboys. Before we let you go, Rick, I got to ask, how are we feeling about this game? Those Cowboys are coming to town. Dak Prescott is red hot. This defense is hoping to give them a mile-high hello. What do you see happening with Dallas this weekend?
But I think it's going to be a great game. Dallas, like you said, Dallas is on a roll right now, and that Odell, Dak Prescott, he's playing well. Their defense is playing pretty well as well. So, and the pride that they have, they're champions, and they're going to be on the road, and they know they're going to have to come in here and play a really, really good game. I believe it's going to be close. I really do, just like last week. And so the fans, get ready, get your popcorn, get your big gulp, because we're going to have another tight one. That's what I believe.
And I want Broncos country to remember, when those first three quarters aren't going well, or even if they're a little rocky at times, we got to remember what the Broncos Ring of Famers telling us right now: the ebbs and the flows, the peaks and the valley, the cake. We've got the ingredients. It's all mixed up. It's in the batter. We got to get it in the oven and let it bake. That's it.
That's right.
I'm listening, Rick, and I believe in, because you're telling me we've got the pieces in place to truly have a special moment here in 2025. What a special moment it was to have you here on MHI, the legendary Broncos Ring of Famer Rick Upchurch. Thank you for your time, sir.
Guys, thank you so very much. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Go thank you, Broncos, and God bless. Thank you, Rick.
God bless.
Wow, Thomas Hall, I've got goosebumps, man. You got that was a good get. As much hell as I give you, Tom, on a weekly basis on this show, to get a Ring of Famer in here to talk about the state of the franchise, what it was like to experience a legendary comeback, one for the NFL record books last Sunday. You were there. Great get, man. Congratulations. Yeah. That was a piece of MHI history, Thomas Hall.
and for me, I every time I have someone like that on, when I was on Legends of Mile High or whatever, I always learn something that I didn't know before. And that's what makes this thing so special. Because I love talking to Ring of Famers. I love talking to legends, or even just regular Broncos players that aren't in the Ring of Fame. But every time I do, there's always some little piece of advice or something about the game or something that happened, back then that you didn't know about. And it's a real pleasure. It's always a treat to have someone like Rick Upchurch on. And hopefully, I'm hoping that the Hall of Fame committee at some point gets their act together and starts looking at his greatness, and hopefully he lands in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully in the near future. We'll see.
We're in a good mood. I'm in a good mood right now, Tom. Don't pivot me to the Hall of Fame, because I know they do our Broncos all kinds of dirty, and you're going to get me grouchy, and I'm not having it after having church on. Here's what I really liked about Rick's moment with us tonight. The perspective. It's easy for you and I to come up here and get after these guys. It's easy to be frustrated, Tom. We're texting each other throughout the game. You're letting me know how frustrated you are. You're taking a quick pulse check around you. and how quickly things can turn. I mean, is that not why this game, this NFL game that drives us nuts, that we love so dearly? It is truly a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful weekend. What a Sunday, man.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this. I was frustrated, but I never left the stadium. In fact, I went down and found a better seat when I saw other folks leaving the stadium. So I got to watch the whole fourth quarter from a great seat. And it was, I will never see another live game like that again. I mean, that's a historic moment. I've told my family. I remember when I played football, we came down, it was 30-6. And in the fourth quarter, we won 36-30. And that was an amazing moment. I thought I would never witness something like that again, but here I was live witnessing something even more incredible than that. So it was great. Even though I was frustrated, they pulled out the win. But I'll tell you, I still do have a little bit of frustration, Luke, because I want to see a little bit better, more urgency, more aggressiveness that they showed in the fourth quarter through the other three quarters, because maybe we wouldn't be in that spot. And the mental aspect of the game, still a lot of drops, still some penalties that I kind of scratch my head about. So hopefully they can fix those things and won't need that historic fourth quarter again, because they're winning handily before that.
Well, and that's the problem, right? They get off slow. I mean, my lovely wife's like, honey, don't worry about it. It's just the third quarter. They'll turn it on. And no, that's not the way this works. But she's right. And we're tired of that. And we're looking for gifts. And guys, speaking of gifts, it's holiday season. If you're trying to start to figure out some of those gifts, well, the House of Atlas, it's a no-brainer. It's perfect for your brother, your roommate, or even yourself. When someone asks what you want and you don't feel like thinking, their grooming kits make it simple to clean up, and they actually look as good on the counter as they feel in your hand. The razor's weighted handle and precision trim edge make it effortless to get a smooth, clean shave every time. Something most razors, well, they just don't do. The best part, you can grab them at Target stores nationwide or online at target.com, so you do not have to overthink it.
And that's right, guys. Atlas is redefining men's grooming with premium tools and products designed to look good, feel good, and actually perform. I love the razor because it feels solid in your hand. It's not flimsy like disposable razors. And the precision trim edge makes detailing under the nose, sideburns, and edges simple and precise. Beyond the shave cream and aftershave elevate the routine with their refreshing and subtle signature scent, making grooming feel more like self-care than a chore.
Boom, guys, do not stress over last-minute gift ideas or settle for shaving products that just never deliver. This holiday season, give yourself or someone on your list the upgrade that they deserve with the House of Atlas. Grab it at Target stores nationwide or online at target.com. Boom, Broncos country, we are off and rolling. It's Wednesday night MHI. You can catch us every 6 p.m. Mountain. He is Thomas Hall. I am yours truly, Luke Patterson. You can get at us over on X at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. What a fun first half of the show. Broncos Ring-of-Famer Rick Upchurch joined the show. Well, I told my dad we were going to have Rick on last week. Spoiler alert, right? And he couldn't wait. He was just like, man. And he would always tell me, because I grew up in the 90s, right? So to me, Rod Smith, there was only number 80. And he would always say, boy, you just don't know. And he was right. You turn on the film, and that's no disrespect to Rod Smith either. But to just get Rick's perspective on Bo Nix, Sean Payton, the play calling, he feels pretty good about this defense. He feels good about this energy from the fan base, this mile-high magic that's been renewed. It's a huge week against the Cowboys. I agree with him. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm not sleeping on Dallas. I'm not buying their defense's crap hype. I've got my takeaways coming, or excuse me, my keys to victory coming at milehighhuddle.com tomorrow. But Tom, I'm not going to let you off the hook. I'm not going to do it, Tom. I'm not going to do it. I love that you're authentic. I love that you're honest. It's what we do here on this show. But I got to ask you, are you still, quote, 100% out on Sean Payton, end quote?
Yeah, I am, man. I was so disappointed. And the reason why is because the problems that they had in the first three quarters had nothing to do with the players from my perspective. It's the mental part of the game, which is on the coach to make sure that they are running smoothly throughout the four quarters. I still think that the players took it upon themselves to go out and make plays where before it was poor play calling. I'm telling you, second 18, everybody in that stadium knew it was going to be a screen pass. They did nothing, no misdirection, no kind of fake the other way, nothing to fool the defense that was going to be a screen pass, and they threw it anyway. So, I mean, it just, to me, something has to change. They've got to be more aggressive. They've got to have different play calling. They've got to have a better mental aspect of the game, because that plagued them. Drops, miscues, miscommunication, dumb penalties. That to me is on the coach from the top. I mean, yes, players make those mistakes, but that is something the coach has to drill through them through that whole week. And we're sitting at, what is this, week 7 already? That's kind of stuff should have been cleaned up. And we're still seeing the same problems from week 1 that we're seeing week now. It was just that, hey, things changed in the fourth quarter because it had to. And that's why I'm really upset with the way Sean Payton has approached this team this year.
It's never too late to change. You're right. I'm upset for those same reasons. You know, I'm a Sean guy. He drives me nuts. He really does. And it shouldn't shock anybody that one of my keys to victory is going to focus on, is Bo ever going to gain Sean's trust? Can Bo ever drive the car, Dad? Because that's what we're asking here in Broncos country. Casey Nickel coming in here, an exclusive member of the MHH community. Thank you, Casey. $4.99 over on YouTube. How about them Broncos? I was at the game with my wife for our 8-year anniversary, and it was unbelievable. Casey, I'm sorry I missed you. Again, happy belated anniversary to you and your lovely bride. What an anniversary gift Casey Nickel got from your Denver Broncos.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. And I mean, I know that I was upset during the first 3 quarters, but man,
out of control. You were out of control, Tom. I almost took the Twitter machine away from you because we were getting all kinds of spite. That's not you, Tom. Every once in a while, you know, I'm guilty of it, but not you, Tom. You're pretty even keel most of the time, but you're right. And here's the thing, too. It's always funny when guys will delete their tweet like, man, that was a bad look. No, just own it. We have fun on this show. We poke fun at our misses. I'm going to push back against you a little bit, though. You're not 100% out on Sean Payton. You know why? Because without Sean Payton, this team's not 5-2. All right. The same coach that makes us pull our hair out is the same man that's responsible for the culture change in this city. That is what drives us crazy, because we don't have the easy fix right now for Sean Payton. Only he can do it. I do think people are starting to wonder a little bit. Does coach have a little too much say around the building? It's who Sean is. They knew who he was when they signed him, when they traded for him. Nobody else is play calling. All right, let's just stop that. I know Zach Kelberman, Kelberman's Korner. I know. I read it all about it on milehighhuddle.com. As long as Sean Payton is here, you're not going to see Joe Lombardi calling the plays. It's not going to happen. Phil McLaughlin weighing in here real quick. Coming to your aid, Tom. I so agree with you. Dumb play calling, dumb penalties. You guys got to get it straightened out. Let's Bo play. Well, you know who agreed with me, Phil, and not Tom, was Rick Upchurch.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, in the moment I was upset. I mean, people paid good money to fly out there or to make it to that game. They're watching this absolute. I mean, it wasn't that the Giants were putting on any sort of a clinic. It was mistakes. It just was so frustrating. It was frustrating as you can imagine for 3 quarters. So I was frustrated. I threw it out there. You know that I have my my thoughts on Sean Payton as a whole. I think he's a good coach. What I really want to see, though, and a lot of people are calling for a different play caller, and it's not because they're going to change all these plays, right? They're not going to change the entire playbook. They're going to use the same plays. What I would like is something different, something that could, and I think that's what people are looking for, a spark or something changed that you don't see that screen pass that everyone knows is coming on 2nd and 18. You know, that's what they're hoping for. Now, I don't know if they'll get that, and they're not going to get, Sean Payton is not going to give up play calling. I 100% agree with you, but I think that's what people are calling for, a little bit of a change, something that might get that same play called at a different situation, or maybe a little bit of a tweak to that particular play that actually is more effective, or maybe something that seems to get their receivers a little bit more open than they are typically. I mean, that's what everyone's calling for. It's not going to happen. I agree with you. It's not going to happen. But it would be nice to see a bit of a change, and that starts with Sean Payton. Sean Payton has to be the leader that says, you know what, my play calling has been terrible, and I'm going to change up how I approach this next game and see if we can get something better. I don't think it's a lineup change. He's calling for a lineup change. I think it's him. He needs to change a little bit to make that a little bit better, because I think they got the talent to do this. That's why they're 5-2. That's why they got the talent to go to that next level. Sean needs to change a little bit.
Yeah, and here's what I will say too, where I was really disappointed, and the Broncos won, and I feel like Sean scrapped whatever his plan was, and him and Bo and the offense and the rest of the team went schoolyard and just started to compete. And sometimes I just want him to rip that play sheet up and just call it, man. Just call it. Call it like you see it, Sean, because he overthinks so much. Trust me, it takes one to know one. I overthink about the most ridiculous things. Can you imagine being in Sean Payton's headset trying to figure out what he's going to call as Bo Nix in the huddle? I mean, you could tell Bo's like, come on now. No time to substitute, guys. I know it's going to take time for me to look at the line of scrimmage and make my read. And before you know it, we're still getting delay of game penalties. We're still doing some of this silly stuff. False starts. It is tough. Here, I want to pivot just a little bit, talking about frustrations. What is going on with my guy, Dre Greenlaw? Tom, I am so mad. Your level of anger and disgust with Sean Payton can't be outmatched with how I feel about Dre Greenlaw right now. And I don't understand why people are trying to give this guy a pass. I see Broncos country all over my Twitter, my X account, saying, man, I agree with Dre. His appeal should have been overturned. Dude, what are you doing in your first game chasing down the referee after Justin Sternad told you not to do it? You know, the guy who helped kind of seal the deal. And by the way, I want to see Justin now. I don't care about the suspension next week. Tom, talk to me about Dre Greenlaw. I'm so disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in Evan Ingram. Just as a whole, those two top free agent signings, what do we have to show for it? One first down from Evan Ingram last week and a suspension from Dre Greenlaw? Is that what we're looking at here?
Well, first of all, I can understand the frustration because the officiating was terrible and has been pretty bad for the most part. I think it's getting worse rather than better as these seasons kind of go along. We've been talking about officiating for a while. There's an unevenness to it, the way it's called. It was evident in that game. I can understand Dre Greenlaw's frustration because, number one, it's not getting better. The NFL isn't doing anything else to make it better. So I get that. But I'm with you. That's a dumb thing to do. You know better than that. And you should. That Sean Payton should be saying you should not be going after a ref at any time. Keep your mouth shut. We'll take care of it. You just keep quiet. And the thing that got me was a rookie, Hugh Robinson, stepped in and tried to pull him away. A rookie had the mental capacity to know this is not what you should be doing, Dre Greenlaw, and you did it anyway. So for me, I'm with you. There's a frustration, but you can't go out and do that. No matter what the ref does, you should know better. Sean Payton should make sure that his team knows better than doing that. I mean, he was out there screaming at the refs and got a penalty himself. So there you go.
Hey, let's talk about that and slap yourselves coming in here, man. That Luke guy's a weird Broncos fan. I'm just saying, hey man, I'm called much worse. I'll take that. Yeah, I am weird, man. I'm weird. I hold this team to accountability, and that's what we do on this show. I'm a Sean Payton guy, and I get after him just as much as, not like Tom, right? I'm not 100% out, but I get after him pretty good, man. And I call it like I see it. And if you don't like it, there's a different radio station who's contracted with the team. Sign up there. It's the thing with me, man. I told you guys, I loved Dre Greenlaw. He was my favorite defensive, free agent addition this offseason. You know why? He was going to come in here. He was going to use his attitude for good. Wrong. He's out there being a complete bonehead. And while I was glad to see him back on the field a little bit, I didn't see anything out of Dre Greenlaw in that first game that I couldn't live without, that Justin Sternad can't provide. And I haven't been a Justin Sternad fan, Tom. You know this, but hell, sign me up for Justin Sternad. He's a good locker room guy. He was in the right spot. He's right where he should be. He's improved significantly this year. But you're right. Let's not give Sean Payton the Dre Greenlaw pass. You know why? Sean didn't even know what happened until the very next morning. He told us that much at the press conference today, talking about, well, it's the appeal and we're in his corner. No, No more, Sean. No more yelling at Vance Joseph on Sundays, ever. You can't control your team. You can't control yourself running on the field. I take exception with Sean Payton there because it sometimes feels like rules for thee and not for me when it comes to the stubborn head coach.
Yeah. Well, I'm not out on Dre Greenlaw. I think his talent is there. I think I saw it in the 20 plays that he played out there. And that's exactly what I thought he was going to get. 20 plays. But when you're returning from an injury, the team knows that Singleton had a pretty decent game, but both Singleton and Strnad I think they don't have the elite talent that Dre Greenlaw brings. But then if you're not there, it doesn't matter. And Dre Greenlaw's not there for this weekend because of a dumb mistake. And that's what I keep talking about. Sean Payton needs to make sure that his team is ready to not do those things. I remember watching his, you say it all the time, Bill Parcells. I remember him pushing one of his own coaches,
the big tuna,
because he started getting into the middle of with the referee. And it was a jerk thing to do, but he's setting that standard to say, you don't go out there and say anything to these referees. Sean Payton doesn't do that. He's out there doing it himself, acting like an idiot on the field, getting a 15-yard penalty. So these are the things that I don't like, but I want Dre Greenlaw back on that field. I think he's still got a little bit of time to get back worked into it. He should be out there this weekend. I think as he gets more playing time, you're going to see a much better Dre Greenlaw. And I'm with you. I think I like Strnad and Greenlaw going in as those starters to solidify that piece of the field. I think they've got great defensive line, edge rushers. They've got great secondary. They just need that second level to really round out to have one of those defenses that are truly great.
William Catalano, a friend of the show over on YouTube, man. Thank you for joining. Very loyal listener every Wednesday night here on MHI. I could still see Dre Greenlaw being on a snap count after the suspension. You bet. He's still banged up. They're trying to work him into football shape. We just heard from the legendary Broncos Ring-of-Famer Rick Upchurch. It's taken the rest of the guys that haven't played in preseason games 7-8 weeks to get into NFL calloused action. And he's right. I don't think that's just lip service. Go watch the NFL products in the first couple of months compared to the last couple of months. And you're right, Tom, the officiating's the officiating, but that old adage, you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. People are starting to wonder around here because the dumb penalties, they're really not sustainable. And speaking about sustainable, I do have to say this, though. We give Alex Singleton a hard time on this show. We do. I think you and I both see him and appreciate him for being a serviceable linebacker, a wonderful man in the community, and a good Denver Bronco. But he's limited. And I think that sometimes we feel that there can be an upgrade. Saying that, what Alex Singleton did on the play to cause that interception to the little giant, Cam Scatabo, was amazing, dude. Yep. Right up A-gap blitz, something like that, right up the gut, blows Cam Scatabo straight back into Jackson Dart's feet. Justice Strnad picks. I mean, that's some mile-high magic working on the defensive side a little bit. So I do want to give credit where credit is due to one Alex Singleton. Now, speaking of the Giants, Tom, that damn Russell Wilson, he broke character. He broke character the other night. He won't go away. He's like a bad penny. He just keeps coming back, and he's coming back to Broncos country. Why is it the Broncos? Can he not go bother the Steelers or the Seahawks or whoever the hell the next team is going to be? Did you see the Russell Wilson, Sean Payton beef, the Russell Wilson tweet? Please tell me that Russell Wilson has lost his mind.
I don't know, man. I've like forgotten about Russell. I don't know why people keep bringing him back up. He keeps. It's like he's not part of the team anymore. He wasn't playing against the Broncos with as a member of the Giants. I'm like, for me, it was like he's on the back burner. I haven't really given him a second thought. And then he's popped back up into my timeline on Twitter, and everybody's all over it. It's like, come on, can we eventually move on, just like we're moving on from his dead cap hit? I mean, do we have to wait for all that money to be completely off the books before we can stop talking about one Russell Wilson? Please tell me that that's the case, because I'm frankly, I'm trying to like cleansed myself of the whole Russell Wilson thing.
Well, and here's the thing, man. Like, I hate talking about it too, man. Elisa's right. Everybody keeps talking about it, and it's not that interesting. I was actually on Sean's side when today he was asked about it. He's like, "Yeah, I saw Russ's tweet. In case you guys missed it, nobody ever misses anything on social media these days. Russell Wilson comes out saying, quote, classless but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 years later through the media, laughing emoji and sunglasses." And then he says, "Let's ride." For me, Tom, the "let's ride" thing at the end of Russ's little tweet all these years later, it's just such an indictment on where that guy is and how he lives in a false reality. So different from the rest of us. I think it's all about me. Jackson Dart's the clear starter there with the Giants. Sean talked about it today. I wasn't talking about Russ. I was talking about Dart. And that's what I got from it right away. I think people took it. They twisted it. Russ has nothing to do but, be told by team 3 how great he is on the bench. So he claps back at coach. I'm with you. It's a lot to do about nothing. But I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed. I wanted Sean to go after Russ a little bit today. I wanted just a little something in there. But coach, he took the higher road. And speaking of the higher road, man, the Broncos are about to play in my favorite uniforms of all time, Tom. They are taking the high road to the victory this weekend in the 1977 Throwback Threads this Sunday. It couldn't happen to a better opponent, the Dallas Cowboys. Tom, I know I'm so biased, man. I'm wearing a hat right now. My wife has the Bo Nix 1977 number 10 Threads. It's the best uniform in professional sports. I know the Tampa Bay Bucks think they got something going on with those creamsicles.
No. I'll tell you, man, I'm going to be completely honest. When I really liked their uniforms, but when they changed back in 1997, I was like, wow. I for some reason, I was like all on board. I was like, this change is going to spark something. I don't know why I thought that. I was still pretty young, but hey, they won 2 Super Bowls after. And so I've got a special place in my heart for those uniforms. I don't for these new uniforms, but I'll tell you what, the Throwbacks are the most beautiful uniform that have ever existed in my mind. Even though I was happy to see them go back then because I wanted them to get out of that funk and win the Super Bowl, it is having them back is like, I don't know. It feels so good in my heart to see those back. I want to see them more.
Dude, to see what they painted the end zones today. You can check it out over on social media, man. And even the socks, man, the kind of stripe that they have going on those socks, man, it's sharp. And the Ronk coming in, an exclusive member of the MHH community. I've got the Nick Bonito throwback orange jersey, man. And that's pretty nasty. Something about a Broncos pass rusher in those throwback threads. But then you see Pat Surtain, man, and he plays so well when they wear those damn 1977 jerseys, dude. I think of the 98, 97 yard interception that he got. What was that last year against the Raiders?
Against the Raiders. Yeah, it was beautiful. And not only that, I mean, you got to think about the number of incredible cornerbacks that have worn those jerseys and other Broncos jerseys. You got Pat Surtain, who's next in line. I mean, when he finishes his career, you're going to be talking about him in the Hall of Fame if there's no injuries and things like that, because he's that kind of player. And to see him out there in those throwbacks, honoring all these great cornerbacks, Champ Bailey, Louis Wright, these Mike Harvey,
Tyrone Braxton,
who was turned to safety and became an incredible safety during those 2 Super Bowl wins.
The late great Darren Williams, right? I'm thinking of guys that, man, played from the 90s, dude, that I'm kind of watching. It's just like, man, you're right. There's a rich. Do the two go together? Is that a coincidence that you've got great Broncos pass rushers and these Chris Harris Jr. was up in the house at Alumni weekend. Keep to leave, snatching chains. I love it.
Yeah, no, great rich history and a great history of pass rushers, underrated pass rushers too. Simon Fletcher comes to mind, one of the greatest pass rushers that ever donned the orange and blue, who was never even awarded with a freaking Pro Bowl. So I'm excited for this game because two things. I love the jerseys, and I think the Broncos can hopefully put together a full offense a full 4 quarters of good offense against this Dallas Cowboys defense. And so it's basically going to come down to, can the defense withstand that offense, and can the Broncos offense muster up enough to reward that defense when they shut them down? And that, I think they will this weekend. I've got my fingers crossed. I'm knocking on wood. I thought they were going to blow the Giants out, but they didn't. So here we are.
Doesn't matter how they do it as long as they get that dub. I'm super excited to have my keys to victory coming out tomorrow at milehighhuddle.com. I took a deep dive into the Dallas Cowboys this week. Javonte Williams is playing the best football of his career right now. Well, that name might sound familiar. Yes, I did say Javonte Williams, the same former Broncos running back who shredded 3 ligaments in his knee in 2022. The same guy that couldn't regain his form and led a 20th ranked rushing offense last year when Bo Nix was actually the only one to truly ascend as a rusher. That same Javonte Williams, man, he is absolutely dominating for the Dallas Cowboys. He is the reason Dak Prescott is playing so well as far as I'm concerned. Dak Prescott officially became the 4th quarterback along with Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees to throw at least 3 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions in 4 straight games. Dak is on a hot streak. They're coming off of a good win against Washington, I believe. It's going to be a good game. I can't wait. 2 historic franchises too. Dak Prescott is 0-2 against the Denver Broncos in his career. A little bit of Broncos trivia for you. Cowboys Broncos. I immediately think, right? I was making fun of you because you're wrong, Tom. You're wrong. There's no reason to be out on Sean Payton yet. There's no reason. The Broncos are winning games. You know that. You just try to drive me crazy and you do a good job. I want to bring up and poke fun at myself for a minute, right? Because those tweets are out there. I thought Trevor Siemian was the guy when the Broncos beat the Cowboys like 5 years ago, or almost 9 years ago. We're that point on 10-year Super Bowl 50 reunion. I thought Trevor Siemian was the guy because Broncos steamrolled the Cowboys years ago. And I'm like, Trevor, this is it. How nice is it that we don't have to worry about that with Bo? Instead of Bo and Sean being like, man, one of them's got to go. No, they're married to each other. We're just trying to figure out that damn cake batter that Rick Upchurch was talking about. I got to get a peek of the recipe from Rick just to make sure it's all right.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason why Simeon looked good was because of coaching. They hid his flaws, because I remember watching a game where they had to give him a 7-step drop on 3rd and 1 just so that he could read the defense in time to throw a pass. And I'm telling you, Gary Kubiak on that first year, that coaching staff hid his flaws very well. And then Kubiak left for health reasons and things started to fall apart for Simeon. That's the point that I'm trying to make with Sean Payton. A good coach, he needs to now be smarter, or maybe less smart. I don't know what it is, to get Bo Nix more of the chances for success that he gave him last year. I feel like he's giving him less chances this year. And I think he needs to open that playbook up, whatever it is, change a little bit, trust Bo Nix more, because he's going to need it this next week against a high-powered Cowboys offense. And that's what I'm talking about here. I didn't like Sean Payton because of personal reasons, but he seemed like he was really turning it around as a good coach. I felt like we're talking about Bo Nix regressing. I feel like it was Sean Payton regressing, and he needs to take that step forward, trust his quarterback, trust his offense, go out there and sling it, and make sure that they are done with the mental errors in the game that we saw last week. I'm telling you, if those early mental errors didn't happen, that probably would have been, they wouldn't need that 33-point fourth quarter, although exciting, and I loved it. They wouldn't have needed it. And that's what they've got to do. They've got to go out there and really trust themselves to be the offense that I think they can be.
What could Sean do, Tom, to earn your forgiveness, to get back in your grace? Because we got to figure that out. What's up? Here's a friend of the show we haven't seen in a little bit, Michaela Israel. Hopefully you and your family are doing well. I'm honestly going to be mad if Javonte has a brutal revenge game. Here's the thing, Michaela. Vance Joseph has proved, at least this year in his squad, they can stop the run. It was one of my big keys last week. Scatta no, and they absolutely kept that little giant from running wild. I think they can do that this week. Javonte's no little giant. He's a big boy. He's physical, but the Broncos know Javonte Williams. They know his tendencies, just like he knows theirs. It's going to be a fun, interesting matchup. Congratulations on your new bundle of joy to you and your family. Many blessings to you and yours.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that for just 1 second because I think that is a key. I mean, what Michaela said is a key. They cannot allow Javonte Williams to take that team on his shoulder, because if they can stop the run, that puts the Broncos' strength of their offense going right after Dak Prescott. And I know he's been very good with the ball. You just talked about having no interceptions, 3 touchdowns. But if they're putting patch situations where they can open up that pass rush, that's when Dak starts to make mistakes, when you get people in his face, you get people coming at him. So you're absolutely right. No Javonte Williams revenge game, because if that happens, this is going to be a long night for the defense with that explosive offense for the Cowboys.
I'm not a Dak Prescott guy. Never have been, never will be. Can't stand the guy. You know, he overslept, Tom. That's one of the famous rumors. He overslept when he was supposed to come and work out for Denver, missed his flight, and the rest was history in that draft. John supposedly really liked him. I don't know, just rumors. You never know. But 0-2 against the Broncos. I think he's turnover prone. He has bad decisions all the time. The running game, he's been leaning on him. Here's where the Broncos defense, just on the way out, they really need to eye some things, and it's going to be a good matchup. You know, Riley Moss is probably going to lock up on George Pickens because you got Pat Surtain on CD Lamb, right? That's probably how it's going to go when you just look at the physicality and the matchup of the receivers. You look at what Cooper and Bonito can do, between 13 sacks combined between the two. Cowboys tackles are playing quite well. Dak is getting rid of the ball very quickly, helping his situation there. But I think you're going to see a good outcome from the Broncos. I don't have a prediction just yet. I think these throwback threads, the momentum of back-to-back home games for the first time this year is going to be really great. I don't think you're going to see Broncos country leaving early. Folks will be there. It's going to be fun, man. I'm so glad the Mile High Huddle meet and greet went well. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad your travels were safe this year. Rick Upchurch joining us, man. Huge get. Many thanks to Thomas Hall for that. The legendary Broncos Ring-of-Famer joined us for the first half of the show, where we recapped Marvin Mims, Sean Payton's play calling. Is Bo Nix the franchise quarterback? You can go back and listen to that on your own time. Tom, we're up against it, man. Another really fun show, dude. Things are getting more and more fun as we go here in Broncos country. It almost feels like things are going just a little too well.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna before I jump into any thoughts that I have, I just want to give a shout out to Lonnie Alexander for helping me to get in touch with Rick Upchurch and set that all set the stage for him to be on the show. Really appreciate that, and man, I loved having Rick Upchurch on. I could have asked him 100 more questions, but I love his insight. So thank you for that. And
Lonnie,
if you missed it, go back and watch it, because there's always something, some tidbit of information that some of these legends bring that you don't know. And I always learn something. So thank you to Rick Upchurch. And again, so here's the thing for me when I'm going into Dallas. So, and kind of looking at the last 7 games, the Broncos are 5-2. They are actually one bad leverage penalty away from being the number 1 seed right now. So they're playing well, but at the same time, I look at it, they could be, 2-5 at this point. I mean, they could be. It's a razor thin. They need to change some things so that this margin isn't razor thin anymore, because it can go either way. I'm happy they're 5-2, and I'll say that I'm 99% now, not 100% out. So you're convincing me a little bit, but no, seriously, I'm looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to the throwbacks. I actually think that they're going to put it together. And I think I thought it was going to happen last weekend. I'm hoping that it happens this weekend. And I think when they put it together, I think you're going to see that team that we have been lamenting, the mental errors. Once they finally put that together, this is going to be a formidable team, and people are not going to be out on Sean Payton anymore, including me, when they go to the playoffs and start to make some noise. So I was upset at the time. I'm still pretty upset. I think I want to see him change. And then when he does, you're going to see a more reasonable Thomas Hall on Mile High Insiders.
I love it, man. Now just remember, listen to Rick Upchurch. He said we've got the ingredients, the cake batter's been made. It's in the oven. We got to give it time. So if you're not going to listen to me, listen to your guy, Rick Upchurch. And guys, we are up against it. Another fun show. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Check out your latest pretty clean injury report. Just real quick on the way out today, since we had a busy show. Mike McGlinchey was full with that foot/ankle. And then you had Jonah Ellis, who it was limited, which is good, right? Got to get Jonah back with that shoulder. So 2 players who both practiced, one full, one limited at practice. We appreciate Broncos country. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Give this pod a follow at MHI_pod. Reach out to Scott at Scout Kennedy. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. Don't forget Thomas Hall at Thomas Hall NFL. We appreciate everybody. Like, subscribe. Let us know how we're doing. Many thanks to Rick Upchurch and everybody here in Broncos country. Lonnie Alexander, Todd Ostendorf. Huge show. We appreciate everybody. Broncos country against America's team. This is the way.
This is the way.